So before now, there is a brand like a made up brand that has, that we've been like all the knowledge. Now let me tell you this. Now I think this is in entrepreneurial class though, but let me start hinting you people about that. Whatever you are learning, always don't just learn it to be I'm just a graphic designer. Think of way to actually put it in a real world practice to make money from it. But your emphasis now shouldn't be about making money, but creating value for other people. What do I mean by creating value? You may have friends that they still they are having upcoming, they are just startup, they are trying to sell some things online, right? They are trying to, so go out to them, even if it's for free. Now do this thing for them for free. If you are in church, join the social media department where you can design, or the design department where you start all of these things that we are saying, so that you shouldn't just be, you are just adding knowledge, but you are not really adding anything practical. So that's the objective of this thing. I just imagine, okay, a brand now that we are doing all of these things. So we've learned, if you go through the material that like that Satori material and the ones I've provided now, there are just plenty things we've learned. It's not just good enough. Do reward. Okay, imagine a brand, just you on your own. In fact, imagine maybe a coffee brand, or maybe which particular brand can you imagine? Imagine now doing a poster design for them. You go online, type what is brand identity. There's what is called brand identity. Maybe even try to design logo for them, things like that. So before now, this brand they asked us to do a quote for them, like a what's it called? Yeah, for their social media. So the second one now they are reaching out to us now is to do their event. There's an event they do, right, about about physical, about exercise, the power of doing your exercise and all of that, right? So it's a So they now want to create an awareness for that. So they reached out to us saying we need a catchy poster to create awareness for our upcoming 126 gym event. The theme for this year is relentless. That's to encourage people to come out to like build. The idea is just to build anticipation. But here is the end product. Yes, thank you, Godwin. I just saw your this thing now, Godwin. So here's the end product. Can you all see my screen still? Can you all see here and see? Please, okay, here and see. Just type here and see. So here is the end product. So this is what we'll be creating today. So this is just to build like an anticipation of this year is actually an annual is an annual event. So to a large extent, we don't need to put plenty of information. You understand? So any person that sees it is now there are types of creatives. There are ones that are so much about to give you information, but there is one geared towards customers that are already purchasing, or to like remind them to like create what is called stickiness, to make a reoccurrence, to like, you understand. So the people that we're targeting with this now, they've already come to the event, but we now want to like bring their mind. They go, okay, the next one is coming up. So it just, and they call this like a teaser. This is meant, as me we are doing animation, this is just be a teaser. So that's that for that. So we'll be starting off with this. So this is my canvas. I'll be, please just to a large extent, right? Just watch, and I think, yeah, just watch and learn. Like, just this is me just demonstrating, right? This is me just demonstrating. I'll the Yeah, and I'm also recording this, right? So I will provide the video for you after now. And yes, I'll provide the video for you after now. And the materials also. The Every material that I'm using here now, I'll provide that for you so you can like practice on your own. So I've gone ahead to bring the logo, but we can't see that here. Why? Because everything is just dark. Everything is just dark. And remember, so the first thing I need to create, remember, as I said the other time, is to do what? There was something I was meant to bring. I didn't remember to do that. It was meant to be the 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 color palette. I was meant to bring the color palette out first before I start designing, right? If you watch the last lesson that I okay, you know what, let me come here. I think I should have it here. I want to go back to the last one we designed. Yes, yes, yes. This is the color palette here. Please, instead of me going through this one after the other again, I actually explained in detail how to get this color palette and why the psychology, why in the first place. So I wouldn't dwell so much on that this time around. I wouldn't dwell so much of that on that this time around, because time has actually gone for today. Okay, one of the reason I do this so that at the end of the day I don't start jumping. Maybe as I'm designing on the way, I feel like okay, yellow should be there. All of a sudden I've started using yellow. But this gives me, it creates a guide for me. I know what I shouldn't do and what I should do, what I should actually focus. And I said, for me, I'm a minimalist. I tend to make things simple. I tend to like go the Apple style, the Apple, what's it called? Yeah, the Apple style, where they tend to make everything simple. And for me, I only use two colors. No matter even if it's yellow, white, the only two colors I use. And I map them two color in the sense that I only have the bright color and the dark color, right? And one of the very place I start in my design is to create the background. And once I pick a dark background, it means the text will be light. This is what we are going at here. For instance, the background, even the image itself is dark, right? So it makes more sense for the text to be bright. That's now it's just even white, pure white. Now there's another color. So that's just the two color, the dark and the black, the dark and the bright. Then there's another color that I now use called the accent color. Accent color is just to make a particular thing pop, just to make a particular thing pop. So which I have here to just give that sense of to just make, to a large extent there's contrast happening here. There is contrast of color, and with contrast, remember I've emphasized on contrast is key, is king, to like break, because if as when I don't have this red here, things will have just been monotonous. Things will have just been monotonous and not, yes, and not bright. So with that in mind now, so with that in mind, remember to I need to create a layer for my background. So I need to create a layer for my background, and to create a layer I need to hit this button here. Can you all still see my here and see me, please? I really need your feedback. Can you all still hear and see me, please? Here, please type here and see, please. Okay, okay, thank you. So there is this at the bottom here where I'm hovering my mouse now. You can see my mouse. I'm taking it to the right, to my right. There is, to my right hand side there now, there is a panel called create new layer. Once I click that, I've created a new layer, but it is empty. So I need to now fill it up with a color. So remember the last time when I sampled this color, but I said it wasn't very dark. It wasn't dark enough. So with that now, I now need to select, I need to make sure I'm on my this my new layer. You know what? Let me even, yes, I'll need to quickly name it BG. That's background. So once I'm on it, I hold Alt and Backspace. I press Alt and Backspace to fill it. Alt and Backspace gives you the this thing to fill. Alt and Backspace makes you fill any particular object, right, with the foreground color. The foreground color is the one here in this color options here in my left here. The foreground color is one here. So once I press Alt and Backspace, it fills it up. But you can see, oh, you can see I didn't select my color correctly. This is the color that's like the last project I did that's still there, is still there. But however, what I should have done is to, one of the quick way for me to always select color, I press B, I go to my brush, I press B to bring out my brush 2, B to bring out my brush 2 option, and I hold Alt, it automatically brings the color picker. Get it? I press B to bring out brush 2, and I press Alt to bring out color picker. So I'm picking this color now. So I pick this color. So with that now, my foreground, that's the one before the background. My foreground color has now picked that particular color. So I can now run this command now. This Alt and Backspace. You, you see. But as I said the last time, this is not looking very dark. I really want it very, very dark, darker than it is. But however, let's say this is the brown color. But in making it dark, once I'm here, I can click here. Yes, in making it dark, I don't need to be on this hue, because if I start playing with this hue, I'm going away from the brown color identity, and that's not so much good. But in as much I want to still use that same brown color, but I need to make it a little bit darker so that to suit the uh, the the feel, the look and feel that I want to go to. So I come to brightness. So I choose brightness here. You see these options here. I'm on hue. There's this hue. So I can come to brightness here. I choose the brightness option here. I take it down. I take this down a little bit to become darker. So once I say OK, so the foreground color is now set to that. So I can go back to my BG, make sure my BG layer is selected, and I press Alt and Backspace. So you can see it's very much darker now. So with that now done, with that my background done, the next thing is for me to bring my image, right? Remember, I broke every flyer is broken down to four. They are just four things. Every background is broken down into four. Every flyer rather is broken down. Every flyer is broken down into four. We have the background, right? We have the image that provides illustration. We have the text, the information, the major information that I want to pass across. The text, or also called the typography. Then we have the logo, the brand identity, whatever the brand identity might be involved in. You may use. So now I need to bring my where is it? I need to bring my image, and this is, yes, this particular one. So it's just a matter of dragging and dropping it now. So I've dragged and dropped it. But I really want it to fill the the screen, something like this. Yeah, something like this. So with that now, somewhat I'm feeling like this my logo is not center. Now this is a bit of alignment. I'm feeling like this my logo is not center. The way to make sure that it's centered, I come here, I hit my alignment. This is my center alignment. It is, yes, you see it wasn't centered. Let me make sure that this is also centered too. Okay, this one is centered. Okay, then the next thing now now need to do is to go back to our brief, the brief they gave us. They said, okay, relentless, right? Is what where is it again? Yes, that the team is relentless. So the major thing is just that we just want them to see relentless, right? So we can copy this. We can copy this now. I just brought up my text too by clicking here, the text too, and I clicked on the canvas itself, on the yeah, on the canvas. I clicked on the canvas, so it brought that out. So I just pasted this. Now, mind you, yes, there are. If you go to there's resources this thing that I made available before now. I listed some fonts that I use normally, especially for brand that are that gives the idea that okay they are futuristic in nature, like they are looking, they are friendly, brand that are friendly, they are also futuristic. So there are some, you know, some sans serif, and these are like an example of sans serif fonts that I use, and there are like three or four go-to sans serif that I normally use, and this is just one of them. This is Serra Pro. This particular one is Serra Pro. So, but before this, right? This is what major thing that this is the major theme of what they want us to, of what they want us to, of what they want us to talk about. However, in my own, I just felt like it wouldn't at the end of the day it won't so much get the idea out if we just put relentless alone. So this is central. This is what they want us, right? Okay, this is the theme, right? Okay, this is the theme that they want us to put across. However, the central idea itself is 126 gym, right? Then this is now a theme of the 126, right? So it now makes more sense for us to, what, duplicate. Now I want to type that 126 gym. So the way to go about it, I can hold Alt. I'm holding Alt now. Once I hold Alt, I drag this up and hold Shift, Alt and Shift to drag this up. But before I press the, okay, let me do that again. Before I press the shift, I've already pressed down the alt and I started dragging already. So I've pressed alt now. You see, it turns the the mouse indicator to see, it turns it to two arrow. There are two arrows there, meaning it's giving me the option to duplicate. So I drag again, holding alt to create this other one. So here I just want to type 126, which is actually the major event is called 126 gym, right? So so with that, this we can afford to make this bigger. Remember, contrast, try to always, okay, remember, as I said, um just like in life, right, there is hierarchy everywhere. Like in every organization there is hierarchy. In every in your family structure there is hierarchy. So there should be father, there should be like, okay, visit once you want to meet any once you want to meet any what's it called, when you go to any organization, there are people you need to go through first. Okay, look, let's say you want to go to a family, there are people you need to go through first. You go through maybe either the mom or the dad before you now start talking of the children. So in the same way, in design too, you need to structure your design to also give that sense of, okay, there is structure here, there is structure. Things are not just happening. So with that, remember, with that, since the major idea here is the event called 126, so I can afford to make this 126 now bigger than this relentless, which is just the theme, right? I can afford to make this bigger by scaling, giving it more. Where is it? Okay, here is 39 point something. So I can afford to make it bigger. Another way to go about this is just to drag here too, just to drag it here. just to drag it here. And I think this is about it. And right now, as I'm doing all of this, I'm not so much, you know, okay, I'm not so much bent on okay how big should it be or how small, but only what I know as of now is that okay it should be bigger than this one, so I just make it bigger. But how do I relate it to this other one here? I don't know yet, but I'll just make it bigger and allow myself to just play and test things around. So the next thing now is gym, is to have the gym, is to type the gym. So I can afford to scale it up. I can afford to scale it up more. Yes, to somewhere like this. So with that now, so another way to like because right now, yes, in terms of scale, right? In terms of scale and yes, there's a hierarchy in scale happening, right? So this one is bigger compared to this, and this is bigger compared to this one in terms of scale. But there's another way to also establish, hierarchy and to establish contrast is going to the weight size. So right now, this is Sarah Pro front, right? It's just on regular. So I can afford to come here, click this, choose a big, like a bold. Okay, let's say, let's make it bold. But somewhere, somehow, I'm not enjoying this font the way it's looking. I think popping. Once I make it bold with popping, it will actually, embolden things. It will give a much more contrast compared to this. So I can afford to do this here now. Make this popping. Okay. The thing is not. It's showing me my other. It's showing in my other screen, but it's showing my other screen. So you can see the difference from what it was before to this. So I just made the popping. I just made it popping bold. I think I like this. There's that major contrast happening between it and this one. So once I have this is like my typography in a very raw form now. The next thing I now need to start looking into is alignment. What do I mean by alignment? To a large extent, right? I can actually do this, align this to the right like this. I think this may work, but it's not just looking weird to me. It's not just so as such. I think I'll just do center alignment for this particular one. Make sure they're center aligned. And one thing I normally do in situations like this, I make sure this bottom one usually align with this one on the top here. How do I go about that? I press R, Control R to okay, it's already out. I bring out my ruler. I make sure nothing is selected when bringing this out. So I come here. You see this ruler? There's ruler here now. So I can afford to click here and drag and bring this out. Once this is out, okay, I already have rulers before now. So I can afford to do this. I already have ruler on this thing for now. So I can take all of this out. So with this now, it, well, for me personally, or the way I've now also been taught is that it doesn't now, it's not looking very nice to just leave this one here like this. Rather, this needs to act as if it is carrying this, is providing what's it called, a ground, like it's a ground where this one sits. So with that now, a way to now achieve that, I've just brought it down a bit more. The way to achieve that is to come here and increase, where is it, and increase it leading. Yeah, this is the character. Yeah, I'm on character now. Please, if by any time you are finding it difficult to locate this character, you can always come to your window and choose whatever panel you see me that I'm working on that maybe you're not seeing. You come to Windows and look for that particular panel. Right now I'm on character. So I can come here now and increase the tracking rather, not the leading. Leading is the one, let's say I have a sentence, right? But this one is called tracking. Increase the tracking a bit more. Yes, to somewhere this. So it's almost there, but not finally there. So I can increase it just a little bit, like 81, or let's say 82. Yes. So understand what is good. Like, how did I achieve all of this? How did I achieve all of this? Remember, there is unity happening here. Yes, there is unity in sense that I'm using sans serif. Okay, I'm able to cheat with using two fonts, whereas like the rule is meant to be that I'm supposed to use one font to maintain sense of unity, right? But I'm using two fonts because this popping and the Sarah, they are very very similar. They have the same look and feel. That okay, even when I change, why did I change to? I had to change to popping because popping gives a much more contrast when I make it bold as compared to when I made this Sarah bold. If I say Sarah, is it Sarah again? The Sarah bold is somewhere like this. There's no, the contrast is just too, is not strong. Rather, I really needed a contrast between this and this other one. So that's why I went for popping. I went for popping bold. So the way I achieve all of this is that I went for contrast. There is also contrast and there's hierarchy happening. I didn't just make everything. I didn't just type everything the same size and the same scale and in the same weight. Though this one and this one the same weight. And to a large extent, I feel like I should scale this down a little bit. I think I did the scaling too much here, somewhere here. So hope people are following me. Hope you all can hear and see me, please. I just need a feedback on that. You can see, hear, and see me. Okay, okay. Well, as I said, this is a demonstration class. This I'll provide all of this, and the objective is that there's an assignment two immediately after now that we also get across. This is also providing a demonstration for the assignment two, how you go about the assignment two. So the next thing now, um, yes, the other thing I did was to actually create. If you watch here, where is it? If you look at this, there's some level of what's it called? Shadow, yes, going on here. There's some level of shadow. Some shadow, especially this place going on here, and even the M. But I would just do it for the relentless. Then I won't do it for the gym that I won't do it for that now. But I'll just do it for the relentless, so I will see how to also play layer style. Before now, to achieve that, the first thing I need to go to is to use the layer style, and we've touched a bit about layer style before now. So how to bring out your layer style is to double click on a particular layer. Once you double click that, it brings out the layer style. So I go to drop shadow. I go to drop shadow. So right now, I'm not so much comfortable with the drop shadow because it's putting up and down. But whereas I want it to look as if, if you watch where this light is coming, right? If you watch this our image, the light is like is from up, is above, right? So I would also like to maintain that sense of unity in terms of my whatever effect that I'm adding here. I want to maintain that unity because it's coming from up. So in the same way, let's say the light is also hitting this text relentless, then the shadow should be up and not just the way it's looking now. And you can come here to a large extent. You can actually come here and start playing with the parameter and start changing this changing the angle a bit to say here. But you can see the more you try to do it, the more it doesn't still give that feel, it doesn't give that perspective that okay, this thing is down. So the way to go about that, and I think the opacity I should reduce. Yeah, the spread is too much. Or not I think it's this standard is too much. So the way to go about that, okay, yeah, it's the size that is too much. I think yeah. Notice what I just did now. At the time the size was somewhere here. It's just too much that to a large extent you're not able to see if you're not able the size was just too much. Let me just but I've decreased it now. So you can see looking at the shadow, you can see okay, is the shadow of S, this is the shadow of S, this is the shadow of E. Rather than before when it was just blurred, it was just blurred too much. So once I say okay, you find that let me drag this out. You find that this effect has been added now, but in it added, like I want to actually have a way of rotating it so that it will look as if the thing is facing the floor, it's on the floor and not just at its back, but it's on the floor. But if I try doing that here, let's say if I want to rotate it now, I want to rotate. If I start doing that, they are both attached together. They are both linked together. They are linked together. So the first thing I need to do is to unlink this, is to unlink both of them. So the way to go about that is to right click on this, is to right click on the drop shadow itself, then go to create layer. Then it prompts you by saying this that some aspect of the effect cannot be reproduced and all of that. You just say okay. So with that now, it separates, you can see the shadow is a layer of its own now. The relentless is a layer of its own. So with that now, I can come here. Once I have the shadow selected, I press Ctrl T. Ctrl T gives you the option to format. It gives you with this selected, right? There are some things I can do with it. I can like rotate this just a little bit, scale it and all of that. I can scale this, right? Let me do Ctrl Z on that. That's not what I want. I can always do all of that, but for me to have more control, I need to press Ctrl T. Once I press Ctrl T, I right click. Once I right click, you can see there's many other options. But the one we want to do now is I think is warp, right? To be honest with you, right now I can't even remember if it is warp or to distort. But let's just try any of them. But either of them, even perspective too can work. But let's just try warp. So with warp, you see, it gives us some handle that we can use to start bringing this way. Can you see? To start making it look as if it's on the floor and not so much just at the back. You see, before this is what, so I'm making it this way. I'm bringing this up a bit also. Yeah, so yes, so this is it now, and I can come back and press my V, take my arrow to now. So to a large extent, I think I can go ahead to tweak this more. I can actually go ahead to do more of this, right? But this is in a nutshell. This is how to go about this. I don't think this is looking superbly nice as it is. And I can also come here and reduce the opacity a bit and reduce it a bit more. Yes, to somewhere this, so it shouldn't be that too harsh. So I can go ahead and do that more. But that's how to like go about to tackle something like this, because it gives you the opportunity now to like have this effect of its own and to play around it. So instead of wasting more time, uh, to a large extent, it's not so much about the end product here. The emphasis now is not so much about the end product, but to give you how to the process that for me, how do I actually work? So remember, I said I usually like to accent some things, right? So I can go ahead for this to actually add some more contrast and to to add some more contrast and to also give it some aesthetic feel. So I can come here, every other thing is selected, everything is selected, but I just want this two alone to be selected. So once this two is selected, I can come here, choose the color, right? I double click on color here. I'm on character. I'm gonna make sure I'm on the character panel. I click the color. I can choose this bright color here and say okay. So with that, and once I select I select the move to, that's with V. But if I hit V now, it will turn this two to V, but that's not what I want. I need to click on this move to here. So with that, I have this. And to a large extent, I feel like I need to increase the tracking a bit. So yes, I just increase the tracking a bit more. So this is what we have. So to a large extent, the beauty of this, yes, there's some level of typography going on, but not um, not not so much a big deal. Not like so much a big deal. Not so much of not a grand typography going on. But what is actually happening here is to tell you the power of picture. As they say, picture speaks, and thousand more than thousand words. I can't remember what they say, but picture speaks very, very, very loud. And I provided a link to some of those. This thing, called Pixel Bay. Pixel Bay. You can always go there to like get free and quality pictures, such as we have here in the Pixel Bay. But there is one that is also very robust. It's called Shutterstock, but that one you have to pay, subscription fee. But the Pixel Bay is for free. So yes, and I've already gone ahead to create, our where for some other people, I think they usually prefer having their social media icon and all of that. Some of their Insta, not just their website alone, but social media icon. But for some brand, they just prefer having just their website because they feel like okay, where the the flyer that we are giving out is living on social media already. Their social media page. There's no need for them to start putting their social media page. But it all depends on their own tastes. So I've gone ahead to do that. So many times, what I do to my image sometimes, because there's this seriousness feel like okay, anticipate like this, because yes, it's meant to like appeal to emotion, right? So with that, I can come ahead here. I can come here and like see add some level of some adjustment layer called curve to like make this also pop. So once I have this curve selected, I just want it to affect this picture alone. If I want it to affect the picture alone, once I'm on the curve, I hold Alt. I hold Alt and I take my mouse in between where the adjustment layer curve is and the picture that I want to apply it under, or a particular thing that I want to apply it under. once I take it there, you see my mouse will change to this. It will change. My mouse indicator changes to this arrow and this box here, and I click on it. So right now, whatever anything I do on this curve now, on the property curve, it will only affect the image. You can see I'm making it like a little bit lighter than it was. No, before it was little dark. So with this, it gives you the parameter. And I'm on the RGB channel. I'm on the RGB channel here. So with this now, I think it's best for me to make it a little bit brighter to give that sense of, it's early morning. You get, it's early morning, like, okay, the feel of, okay, it's early morning. Because, well, in my own, the way I mapped it is that it usually starts in the morning, early morning. So, since it's an event, people usually come early morning and do their workout. So this BrandIt now is hosting that, where people can come and do all of that. So this is giving more of like an early morning fee. So as that, I can afford to take this a little bit here. So that brings us to the end of another demonstration of how to use Photoshop, on how to, of my own workflow, to like how I also do my own, how I also tackle design work. So I will stop sharing for now. There's one other thing I needed to, which is the other time I failed to. Okay, I think I might have in the demonstration video, in the first demonstration video, but for me to be doubly sure, let me just go through this. The way to save your work, the way to save your work. So you have now, since Photoshop CC, right? Before, the way to save your work, once you're in Photoshop, the only way to save your work is you need to know, come save as, press Ctrl Shift S. Ctrl Shift S. We allow you to save. Ctrl Shift S. We allow you to start saving and all of that. But to a large extent, this is not the best way to do this. This is not why? Because now to start taking cognizant of all of this other thing here. So for me, the way I normally do that now, the very fast way I do that is I come here. Okay, I've already named this. Yes, I make sure I name my layer. I name the BrandIt 126 GYM title, right? Yeah. So I do that. I right click. I go to quick export as. I go to quick export as. So or you can do export as, that will give you some extra options. But for me, I usually just go quick export as PNG. Then, you can now choose, yes. And you can see, I have a folder. This is also about file organization. It's very good for you to always organize your file. You can see I didn't just start, everything I use here, right? I created a folder for the PSD. I created a folder for the image, right? So I create on that folder called render, or you can name it export or whatever, but render or export. So you always know that, okay, this is where your finished product, your finished work is. You enter there, you say save. It will save it as PNG. But if you want to save as another other format, you come to export as. Yes. So with this now, with this option here now, you can come here, choose whatever format you want. That's JPEG, right? Yes, you can use JPEG. And once you are satisfied with that, you do export as. Then you can come back here and choose where you want to say export it as here. So that's all for exporting and rendering. What's me? I think I'm of the animation background. We call this also rendering your file.